Welcome to Living the Life You Love, hosted by yours truly, Catherine Murray Love, who takes you on a journey of individuals who share the life they live and the life they love. And now, here is your host.
Thank you, Coach Mia, and welcome everyone. Not only do we love to be back, but tonight's show itself is all about love. However, before we begin, please remember to like and subscribe on YouTube at Quilly Works, where you can watch all previous and upcoming shows. One of the inspirations of Living the Life You Love series was the great Bob Marley. He once quoted, "Love the life you live and live the life you love." Thank you, Coach Mia, and welcome everyone. Not only do we love to be back, but tonight's show is itself all about love. However, before we begin, please remember to like and subscribe on YouTube at Quayle Works, where you can watch all previous and upcoming shows. One of the inspirations for Living the Life You Love series was the great Bob Marley. He once quoted, "Love the life you live and live the life you love." That I can identify with. Part of what it means to me is doing the things that I want to do, making a difference and raising awareness, and defining how I want to make decisions around career and spending my life. Above all, it's loving myself. That is loving all of me, which includes being in touch with this body and vehicle that is going to carry me through life. Unfortunately, so many people feel shame, guilt, and self limiting beliefs and all forms of trauma that disconnect them from the body and restrict them from healing and growth. That's why our topic for today's program is love and reconnection to the body. Our special guest is Dr. K, one of the country's leading experts and trailblazers on sexology and sex education. However, before we get into specifics, let's take a quick break. And when we return, Dr. K is going to reveal some secrets about why your body is your most important relationship.
Been here since day one. Hey, it's your girl, Coach Lady Q, asking you to join me on the Glow 365 TV every first Tuesday for the Mia Allman Show, hosted by yours truly, followed by the second Tuesday with Holistic Health Show with Coach Dawn. We stroll down to the third Tuesday with On Q Show, hosted by Evangelist Coach Lady Q. Then we close out the month with the Sophie G Show, hosted by Coach Sophie G. Join us as we go live on Facebook and YouTube at Glow 365 TV Show every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time as we talk about the mind, body, and soul. A conversation you don't want to miss.
Welcome back. I'm so honored to have Dr. K here with us, not only as an expert sexologist and founder of the Institute for Mind Body Therapy, but also as vice president and self empowerment educator for Quilly Works. Dr. K, welcome back to Living the Life You Love.
Thank you, Catherine. It is a pleasure to be here with you and with the Queely Works team and with our audience. I'm interested to see what kinds of questions or what they're interested in knowing and being part of this evening with all of us together.
Absolutely, Dr. K. We're going to have so much fun. In your work and in your book, Am I Normal If, you talk about how to regain a lost connection with ourselves and others and others. And you say, that we can enhance our body mind wellness by expanding awareness of the you with you and the you with others. Can you tell us what exactly do you mean by that?
Well, exactly is a little difficult because what you with you is about is your own unique you with you. And then how do we tease through what is your own special gifts, talents, what you bring to this conversation called humanity? And then how do you share that with others? There is no exactly, except that to take this journey, and that's what the book is about, as far as the big question, am I normal if? Am I normal if I do this? Am I normal if I don't do this? Am I normal if my eyebrows are crooked? It's what we all struggle with
Yes.
inside of this awareness of you with you, and then the challenge of sharing you with others.
Dr. King, you have said that many people don't understand your work. And how is it in uncharted waters?
Well, I started back in the 1980s when you could barely put your hands on people inside of what was called massage without it being seen as massage parlor. And so to bring the body work from massage parlor to a therapeutic process inside of a mental health umbrella, what I call the neck up work and the neck down work coming together. It was basically unheard of in our generations. Although it's ancient wisdom, it goes back to the Greek and Romans, where they had bathhouses and they had massage, and body work was part of their healing practices. Well, it got waylaid for various reasons. And the reason that we have it back today is the team of Masters and Johnson, Bill Masters and Virginia Johnson, doing their work in what's called sensate focus and bringing therapists in to work with folks on their bodies and body workers to come in and work with folks in their mental health. So bringing the mind and the body together. So it's now more charted waters here in the 2000s. We have integrative medicine where we're looking at how the mind and body affect each other. So it's naturally flowing into how in mental health, the mind and the body work together.
Well, Dr. K, I know it must have been rough to be you, but I can totally testify with being a rebel. I've dated outside of my race, out of my social economic background, and I just continue to surprise people with some of my choices, um, to say the least.
Yay.
Yay. Um, so it's obvious, Dr. K, that we live in a culture in which sex sells just about everything, and we are at risk nonetheless of really experiencing true intimacy. How do you deal with that in your work?
Well, it is the basis of this work, taking the word intimacy and breaking it down to into me, see, know me, experience me, and help me to know you, to experience you on a level and in agreements and inside of respect and inside of acknowledgement and awareness. And so that leads to that communication is our largest sex organ. And that's what we teach basically is verbal communication and physical communication. And it starts with how are you talking to yourself? And then that translates into how are you taking that self-talk to others?
You have said that changing this should be done holistically. And what do you mean by that? And how does your work help others holistically build a new relationship with themselves and then with others?
Right. Well, holistically, and we spell it WHOLIastically, for the whole body experience. And it's inside of building first the relationship again with you. And you'll see it in the book. It's, I think, it's like chapter 3. It's really early on in the message. Again, is what's your relationship with you? And how do we go back through childhood and we take a look at what are the messages that you got, especially in that window of 0 to 7 years old? What can you remember in your growing up experience, whether mentally, emotionally, or through your senses? Because that's how we read our world. Before we have language, we are more reading our world through our senses. How do we feel? And how is our emotional state? How is connection to family or people that are raising us? And so it's really looking at the whole picture of those early years, the more growing up pieces where you started down this road called relationship. What was your relationship with you? How did you share that with others, and all these phases and stages that have you now here before me?
Oh gosh, totally. I remember the messages that I was given as as a young woman. And that points to the next question that I have, which is, most people have a way of putting people inside of a box. Human beings just do this to each other, and that includes family members and friends. I remember, how strict my parents were. So I would like for you to share in relation to that. Is there a normal?
I prefer to use the word natural, like what's natural for you. This, I call it the box called normal, that people want to put us in this neatly arranged box that works in the way they see the world, or what the fashion is of this time period, or what the hairdo is, or what the weight is, or the color is, or who and how we love each other. There's so many areas and boxes that we want to put people in to feel comfortable. Well, okay, so you're the same religion I am, so I can really relate to you and understand you, rather than, oh, tell me about the way that you see religion or spirit, so that we learn from each other. And so the box called normal is for our own safety, sort of like that. We think, well, if the person dresses the way I do, or they like the same movies I do, then they have a common connection. And so it's how we separate ourselves from others, and maybe some fear even in those ways that we separate, and find where do we have common ground. Rather than look at how are we different, let's look at how are we the same.
Well, Dr. K, I totally trust your not normal concept and the need for more holistic approach. But I am sure that you've been met with a lot of resistance in especially conventional circles. And if so, please explain.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, I started in the 80s, really. And even before that, in the 70s, I was teaching vegetarian cooking classes. So I'm used to the rebel tag or walk that I've chosen in this lifetime. And I have been guided. I have been blessed with the exact right people showing up. I've had teachers and mentors throughout this industry of holistic teachings, practices. I was connected early on in my career in the 80s, Masters and Johnson, but also with Dr. Bill Staten, who is a Baptist minister, sexologist. I mean, the work that we did together in helping people that walk with a faith that sometimes did not have agreement inside of how they were doing relationships or how they wanted to do relationships with their own bodies, and then how to share them with others. So it has been, a path that I feel really blessed to have been given the opportunities, and the folks that I gathered. I said I didn't make a lot of money, but I've gathered people, and that is worth way more than a huge bank account. Although I'm open to money coming in now that I'm aging, and money would be nice to have, along with friends to come by and still hold your hand.
Indeed. Dr. K, I know you've encountered these obstacles, and even with all that, you decided to provide a certification process for others to do the work, especially in light of resistance. And you continue to be an advocate for more non conventional modalities. Can you elaborate on that?
Right. So after completing my bachelor's degree in human services in 1992, I in Villanova for my colleagues from Philadelphia. I went out to the Institute for Advanced Studies of Human Sexuality, where I was able to meet with Masters and Johnson. They were my professors, and I was able to go to St. Louis and to work in their clinic and to find their way of thinking that was looked at as illegal, really, because they were having people touched inside a therapeutic process. And those folks are called surrogate partners. At that time, they were called sex surrogates, because surrogate means substitute. So it was substitute partners that we were bringing in, mostly women, to work with men who did not have partners. And so this triad model, which Masters and Johnson's created, I took and transformed it into what I've named the expanded triadic model, because I include all people who are doing neck up work, because I saw that this conversation was needing to grow with inside the growth of the holistic movement, where we had more kinds of body workers other than just massage therapists. We have energy workers, we have Reiki, Shiatsu, foot reflexology. I mean, what has happened since the 70s to 2000, I knew was coming. And so I began training people to work inside the triad model, only expanding it to include those folks who did basic massage or cuddle therapists. And so I started in 2000, after I attained my doctorate, to run training programs, which we still do today, for the neck up folks who are the mental health people, and the neck down who are the touch therapist, how to work in conjunction with each other inside of the sensate focus exercises, which was the core of Dr. Masters' work. And sensate focus is something that we teach each client, whether they're couples that come to us or singles and they don't have a partner, then we provide the partner, as in surrogate partner, to teach them these basic core, how do we begin to open up to our own body through touch, and then how do we share that with another?
You know what, Dr. K? I'm sure that this work is necessary for some people that are looking to find their way, improve their sexual intimacy and communication, and just relieve themselves of sexual anxiety. Uh, I guess we need to put ourselves in other people's shoes. Uh, Not everybody is uh, comfortable with themselves and their bodies. And the audience, I'm sure, is very curious and would like to know about the methods that you use. And of course, the easy way that you go about things. So, we're going to take a quick break. And when we return, we're going to mention a very special offer for today's viewers that Dr. K is going to share. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
Join the conversation on Living the Life You Love, hosted by founder, executive producer, and host Catherine Murray Love, bringing you a monthly talk show that takes you on a journey of exclusive interviews from individuals who share their passion as business entrepreneurs, a community leaders, an advocate to raise awareness on how they found purpose in being successful and living the life they love. Streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at Kweliworks. That's KWELIWORKS. Monthly every first Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. This show is powered by Kweliworks Empowerment Broadcast Network.
Welcome back. Dr. K, you mentioned that healing relationships from the neck down is really crucial and a barrier for some people. What exactly do you mean by that?
In our first 5 to 7 years on the planet, after we're born, is where we get anchored in how we are going to be with ourselves and others. In those first 7 years, we don't have cognition on board. We don't have much language or ability to share what we feel or what we've experienced. And that's what I mostly focus on inside of what's called an intake, because we're run by our sensuality, our senses. What do we feel as a 2-year-old hearing mom and dad fight, or maybe even being mistreated ourselves or locked in our crib for hours on end? Do we come home from the hospital with mom, or are we left behind and maybe in an incubator for a week or two and get no real touch? These are the pieces that I'm looking for as far as what formulated our relationship to ourselves, and what are those instances or episodes or memories that are locked in our physical body inside of what could be called trauma. I had a client come in. It was one of the first clients I had that really convinced me we were on the path in 1985. She came in because she had struggled with neck and shoulder pain her whole life. She was about 35 years old. The docs gave up on her, said, look, it's in your head. We can't find anything wrong. Go see this therapist, psychologist. So she went in to see Dr. Bill. He did an intake. And he said, all right, you need to have an appointment with Susan. So she made an appointment, came back, laid on my table, fully clothed. And I just started to move around, which we understand today, like feeling energy or feeling where is the body in distress, or what are the messages that the body is carrying or holding. And I was led to put my hands on her neck and shoulders, and she was fully clothed, and like we were 10, 15 minutes at the most. And she started to raise her arms up overhead, sobbing, having memory of being strung up in the barn as a child. And so she continued to work with Dr. Bill on the issues, and eventually the pain and the trauma were gone. So it's what we house in our bodies, the trauma that's locked in that we don't get to because docs give us medication. Oh, you have a pain in your neck? Here, take this. Your foot hurts. Well, here's a wrap for your knee. It's looking at what is the message that's coming through. And this began in the Sensate Focus teachings of Masters and Johnson, because one of the very first exercises is the mirror work, where the client needs to stand in front of the mirror and evaluate their relationship with their bodies. And I've had people just stand there and cry. And this is with clothes on. Now they're to go home and do it with clothes off and write up about it. And then eventually, working with a body worker, they could do it with clothes off with another person, just so they can get used to being in the presence in their own body with another person. So that's how it goes from there, that comfortability first with themselves and then with others.
Wow, that is a very powerful story, Dr. Kate. I'm going to go back to your book because it's really juicy. You mentioned embracing your internal, just plain damn you, despite any external messages. Exactly. What do you mean by that?
Well, it is about plain damn you, because we get these messages as children, as I spoke to earlier, and we get them through DNA or genetics, right? People want to know, is it nature, nurture? When I had professorship back in the early 2000s, there was this question, are people gay because they just want attention, or there was absentee fathers, or, what's this thing about being gay? Is it their where they were brought up or their biology? So I went to the blackboard and I drew a circle and I put like a peace sign on it. And in 1/3 of it, I wrote, this is the nature part, what we get through our DNA, through our biology. Our alcoholism grandfather passes it down to our father. And then do I have that genetic coding as well? And then on the second third, I wrote, you're nurturing. Are you born in the Miami Beach area, or are you born in the Bronx, New York, or, Long Island? I mean, I don't know, but your nurturing is going to be different. Location, location, location. And also, were you read stories at night, or were you just told, go to bed? These things we had no control over, the biology or the nurturing. And so I had a third symbol at the bottom, and I called it just plain damn you. It's your fingerprint. It's your snowflake. It's what you come in with that is your gift to the planet. And so we go to work to have our clients see how they can grow themselves up and pick and choose from their nature and their nurture. Do I want this for myself or not? And you grow and grow and grow into what I put at the top of the wheel was self-actualized adult, by your own choice and by the taking yourself on and standing for plain damn you.
Wow. Yeah, well, human beings have a tendency to have a hard time to accept themselves. We're worried about what other people think about us. And so this whole plain damn you just being put inside of a book is just a gift. It's a gift. And so I have a copy of my own.
And I bet it's signed by the author.
I know the author very well, actually. She's actually one of my favorite people in the world. I'm one of her biggest fans. And I have this chapter 3 that's absolutely my favorite. It actually talks about the first kiss, the first rejection, and first attraction, which is obviously
Yeah,
very
yeah,
fun to remember. I can really relate to this because of my own experiences. Um, I remember the first time I kissed a boy, it wasn't not pleasant.
yeah.
Um, I was kind of forced by my cousins, and
Oh,
I was not ready. And he was 13, and for some reason, he was drinking beer. I didn't know they were allowed to do that. I guess he must have went to the liquor store and snuck it in. Um, but then after he took a swig of beer, I kissed him. So I didn't. I never tasted beer in my life until that moment, and it was quite a surprise, unpleasant, but I got over it. So thank you, Dr. K, for this gift right here. I'm going to share it with the world, and we're going to take a quick break. And when we return, we will describe a typical day at the office for Dr. K so we can discover how we might all fit in. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
Coming up on the next SNS show on Thursday, February the 16th, 2023 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, entitled Why Successful Black Women Can't Find Love. Streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at DRSNS Show, a conversation you don't want to miss.
Welcome back. Let's go to the office with Dr. K. Be a fly on the wall, everybody. Um, you'd be surprised. There's a variety of people who visit her, and I would like for her to mention some of the people that she works with so that everyone is comfortable.
well, let's see. Mostly singles and mostly males that find us. A lot of late life virgins or folks who are struggling with religious teachings and trainings as to their own relationship with their bodies and then how they with others. We walk with people that have come through trauma, and that can really spill over into the women that find us. Trying to get back to a relationship or attain a relationship with their bodies that they never even had before or lost somewhere along the way, especially women that are aging. Now we have a lot of women who come in that are going through menopause and they're uncertain what it looks like for them sensually and sexually and how they live in their own body. That's changing. Um, we have people that are couples that come in together, and it's basically the same work. It's just how we divide it up between two people that are going to now be each other's partners in this conversation. And it's a harder one for them to have than to have with strangers. So we need to walk very closely with our couples. Sometimes the women will just see me separately and I'll send the men to somebody else. And then they come together and discuss what they've learned. So I have all of the flavors of the LGBTQIAA community, those people that are put in the not normal box. It's not as heavy on that load, the diversity load, as it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when people were struggling. There's more options for the LGBTQ community, which is terrific. And recovering addicts, people who were unable to share their bodies unless there was alcohol involved.
Mm.
People in trauma. I mean, just trauma can look different in different genders and in the way that it lands and plants itself in the body, as my story, or the way it's affecting us in our mental and emotional well-being. And if we have someone come in with trauma, I send them for EMDR or hypnosis. We might start with just cuddle therapy, where people with fully clothes on, where people can't even be held or touched without being scared or sad. Lots of tears inside of a session where they're just being held.
Yes. So I know that a lot of people fear like being on camera. And so I can imagine that when people that feel awkward or uneasy about intimacy, that's probably what they feel: uncomfortable, heart racing, unsettled, just trying to find their way. So I'm I'm grateful for this work because I know that we're all different flavors. There's chocolate, there's vanilla, there's chocolate and vanilla swirl. And so basically, please correct me if I'm wrong, whether you have a partner or not, you're able to work with them.
Correct. We provide the partners, as in the surrogate partners. We have surrogates, not Masters and Johnsons, as I said, all only women. And we train men and we train gay, lesbian, trans folks. We have people inside of all diversities that are exploring who is plain damn me. And we give them permission and we provide. We have 9 teams around the country of people, all various stages of mental health and somatic arts that we bring together for total body well-being.
That's awesome. All inclusive. Thank you, Dr. K. Let's take a quick break, and when we return, we will find out why people think your work is so spectacular. Be back in 60 seconds.
Been here since day one. Hey, it's your girl, Coach Lady Q, asking you to join me on the Glow 365 TV every first Tuesday for the Mia Allman Show, hosted by yours truly, followed by the second Tuesday with Holistic Health Show with Coach Dawn. We stroll down to the third Tuesday with On Q Show, hosted by Evangelist Coach Lady Q. Then we close out the month with the Sophie G Show, hosted by Coach Sophie G. Join us as we go live on Facebook and YouTube at Glow 365 TV Show every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time as we talk about the mind, body, and soul. A conversation you don't want to miss. Join the conversation on Living the Life You Love, hosted by founder, executive producer, and host Catherine Murray Love, bringing you a monthly talk show that takes you on a journey of exclusive interviews from individuals who share their passion as business entrepreneurs, a community leaders, an advocate to raise awareness on how they found purpose in being successful and living the life they love. Streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at Kweli Works. That's KWELIWORKS. Monthly every first Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. This show is powered by Kweli Works Empowerment Broadcast Network.
Welcome back. Dr. K, what keeps you going on as a pioneer? Your work is challenging and you've had to face a lot of things. What keeps you inspired?
Well, there's been lots of times I've been curled up on the floor, the fetal position. But it's the clients, and then somebody calls, and yeah, I've just been blessed with the people that have come and gone, that are the therapists or the body workers or the supporters of this mission. It's a mission. It's not just my work. It's my life's calling, and I'm just grateful I got to do what I came here to do. The clients that have invited us to weddings,
Yay.
not just me, but my staff have gone to weddings. We've had babies named after us. I still hear from some folks from years ago. They'll let me know how they're doing. I get Christmas cards. Yeah, changing lives. That it's not an ego thing. It's a humanity thing. And so contributing to humanity in the way that we've been able to do, it just keeps me going.
That's awesome. I'm feeling this warm, fuzzy feeling inside because everybody's needs are met, and I'm just that type of person, right? Um, I should mention to our audience that Quelly work has happened to. Wait a minute. I'm going to start over again. Well, Dr. K, I should mention to our audience that Quelly Works has happened to speak with several people who appreciate your work. And this is a sampling of what they had to say. Wow, those were powerful testimonials. We expect more when the podcast we are planning comes out. So stay tuned for that. This is all about love, obviously, love without limits, and that relationships are negotiable. So it's really exciting. Dr. K and me are like totally kicking it on a very popular topic, right, Dr. K?
Well, it has become popular. I mean, what I predicted, that this would be the future, that this is the future. It's here. Integrative medicine is on the forefront now, and
Somatic arts.
somatic arts and integrative therapy is riding on the heels
Yeah.
of integrative medicine. And people are waking up to the fact that we are in charge of our own wellness, and that's mental wellness as well as physical wellness.
Dr. Kane, would you please share with us the special offer for those who are watching the show? They may want to get the prize, you know? It is good.
Sure, Kat. Well, the first 25 listeners to contact us will receive a 30-minute discovery talk session with me. In addition, Catherine and I would love to provide an opportunity for our audience to purchase our video, which is How to Orally Please a Woman. It is now at a reduced price for $24.99. Again, I think that's for the first 25 listeners.
To get this bonus, contact us at quillyworks@gmail.com. Give us your email, mention that you saw and shared this show with your friends. Please use the code word LTLYLDRKAYE. Basically, it stands for Living the Life You Love and Dr. K. This offer is good until March of 2023. It should give people enough time. For more info on Dr. Susan K and our empowerment educators, please contact me at quillyworks@gmail.com. Also, Dr. K, you have a website where people can contact you. Would you please share that website with our audience?
Thank you. DRSUSANKAYE.com. And then we also have our training site, which if folks are interested in finding out what it takes to get trained by us, we train folks that come to us with their neck down degrees and folks that come with their neck up degrees. And we teach them how to work inside of this model. And that is integrative mind body therapies. So it's INTEGRATIVE.com. It's also, each one of those is on either one of the sites. My separate site is on the teaching site, and the integrative site is on my Dr. K site.
Thank you, Dr. K, for being our special guest today, all the way from Austin, Texas, and showing us how to love the life you live and live the life you love. Dr. K, thank you so much for your support in sharing your work, and it's been a pleasure for both the neck up and the neck down experience.
Well, thank you to everyone at Quealy Works for their support in sharing this work and believing in this message. I so appreciate all that each of you brings to the table and adds to getting the word out and helping folks to know that this neck up and neck down experience can be life-changing. So thank you.
You're very welcome, Dr. K. I am an advocate for the human spirit to experience freedom, at least before it's too late, right? So it was our pleasure, my personal pleasure, to have you on. And to our audience, thanks for joining us on the first episode of our third season. Please let us know what you think about the show. And if you would like to be a guest, yes, that is new. If you'd like to be a guest, share your information with us. I know a lot of you have amazing stories on living the life you love. So email us at quillyworks@gmail.com. Okay. I'm Catherine Movery Love for Living the Life You Love and Quilly Works, coming to you live from Boca Raton. Until next time, live passionately.